Welcome back, everybody. My name is All Fun and Games. I stream every day on Twitch TV, and I also make fun little videos here on YouTube. Today, we're going to be going over something very quick and somewhat controversial, and that is, do or should you play with mods and don't starve together? Well, as you know, mods can make your game obviously run a lot smoother, sometimes run a lot worse, depending on how good your computer is, but it also can make the game more enjoyable and also give you some content and or information that you might not actually know about. So of course, you know me, I am an advocate about actually using mods. I like mods a ton. I've always liked mods when it comes to DST and pretty much any game in general, as long as the game really warrants the mod. So that being said, let's talk about a few different mods. I've already went through and posted my top mods for Don't Starve Together and showcased exactly what they are. I even posted one, I think about a month or so ago, that showcased the ones that I'm currently actively using, especially with the new UI. But let's talk about why it's good to use mods and then talk about why it's bad to use mods. When I first started playing Don't Starve Together, I immediately did not know what mods were, and I always thought that every time I put a mod onto my computer, chances are I was risking myself of getting a virus. Of course, you know, being somebody in that IT department, I was just a little bit cautious, but at the end of the day, I've realized it's not that big of a deal as long as you know what you're getting. So keep in mind, most of the mods that are on the Steam Workshop have been scanned and confirmed by Steam to not have any injectors in them or anything like that, so you don't really have anything to worry about that way. But nonetheless, let's just talk about why it's good to use mods. If you're playing Don't Starve Together and you're worrying that, I don't know what I'm doing or I'm having issues with certain things, you could potentially go onto the workshop and download a mod that helps you with stuff. So let's talk about a few things. For example, I'm playing with 12 players, I'm playing with a certain amount of players and I want to have more options to play with more. Well, you can download a player mod that lets you have more players. This is an easy reason to have more mods. Of course, some people might say to you, well, you're not supposed to play with more than the recommended amount of players inside of a server, but if you have a lot of friends and they all want to join up with you, why wouldn't you, right? So this is a good reason to have a mod. Of course, this goes for every other things. For example, you have an easy way of accessing admin commands. You have an easy way of showing your players nicknames, things like this, and blah, 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 blah. So basically, in the end, mods, in my opinion, are good because I think that they can help you out a ton when it comes to just basically making your game the way you want it to feel and the way you want it to look. So if you want your HUD to look different or things like that. And these are called quality of life things. So basically, instead of altering the game in a certain aspect, making the game easier, all it does is just inject a little bit of ways that DST looks differently, gives you kind of, a little bit of a grid to make sure that you're planting things a little bit nicer, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, let's talk about why mods could be bad. And this is kind of one of the reasons why a lot of people are against mods, or people always frown upon those that decide to use mods. Some mods could be altering to new players that are trying to experience Don't Starve Together. For example, if you join the game and you begin to just go right into mods right away, and you decide that you want to make it so you're no longer going to have a health penalty from being insane. Well, these types of mods can end up hurting you in the long run because you're basically relying on that mod, and if that mod ever no longer exists, for example, if it no longer supported or whatnot, then you are basically learning the game all over again. Now, I still believe that mods are fun and enjoyable, but to each their own, and everyone has their own opinion. So I just want to make sure that you're a little leery. I used to use a mod that a lot of people didn't like, and that was a mod called Quick Pick. And basically what it does is it lets you pick up anything, whether it's grass or twigs or you're doing anything like that, and it would make you pick up things like really, really fast. And a lot of people were like, you should not use that at all because if you ever join a server that doesn't have that, you're going to be a little bit confused. And sure enough, I stopped using it. And it was almost like kind of just going back in time a little bit and being like, oh, wow, I'm so used to things being a lot faster when I'm trying to gather resources. So now, obviously, I don't use that mod anymore. But that being said, I got used to it. And this was obviously at the very beginning of me playing DST. So you just want to be a little cautious not to play anything too drastic. But like I said, if you are enjoying Don't Starve Together and you don't mind having that stuff, like I said, to each their own. It's just a warning that if you do get used to certain mods, they could eventually fall off the workshop. And what I say about that is sometimes mod creators do what they call inconsistent updates or just basically say goodbye once they've already made the mod. So recently we had a change to our HUD or the UI in Don't Starve Together. A lot of the previous HUD mods no longer updated their stuff because they didn't want to alter anything to match the way the UI looked. But a lot of the people that actually, for example, made the Victorian HUD and things like that, they did a great job to make sure that they've successfully updated. So you just want to make sure that if you are using a mod, that hopefully the person is still using and updating that mod regularly, and you can actually see that by noticing the version change on the actual mod itself. So if you go to the mod, it's going to say version 1.3 updated July 22nd of 2022. Now you might actually see that and go, okay, awesome, so this means that they're for sure going to stick with this mod forever. No, of course things can come up. These are regular people that are going through the process of making a mod, which takes a long time, and eventually sometimes they lose interest. So you just got to be cautious that if you are relying on a mod pretty heavily and eventually that mod disappears or no longer is updated, that you're not really using it as a crutch, and then you kind of have to learn everything all over again. So what I would probably suggest doing is this. If you are planning on using mods, stick with quality of life change ones for the beginning, and then eventually get yourself into like the more fancier ones down the road when you've kind of already adapted enough to Don't Starve Together. For example, I use Add Shovel all the time so I can relocate cactus. And of course, people look at me and go, that's a thing? You can do that now? I'm like, no, it's a mod. But after 5,000 hours in DST, I kind of look at myself and go, I should be able to do it the way that I want to do it, and there's no question asked. So yeah, enjoy mods. Nonetheless, everyone has their own opinion on this, and I expect people to be like, I don't think so, or yeah, for sure, do what you want to do. But in the end, it's your game. Treat it as you like, and just have fun with Don't Starve Together. I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks again for watching.